this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. Its hyperlocal, real-time customizable alerts make sure the weather never takes you by surprise, so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
When people turn to telehealth for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience, and all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research, ask questions, then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only designer sofa that's machine washable inside and out, starting at just $699. Plus, Anabay sofas are pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and feature changeable slip covers and modular pieces. Get up to 60% off site-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Visit WashableSofas.com to get yours now. That's WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
Body Bags with Joseph Scott Moore. You know, growing up, I was around a fabulous musician. As a matter of fact, this musician that I grew up around had literally been playing piano since they were in the single digits. When I was first born, I actually was in the organ loft at the church, which actually wasn't a church. It was actually a Jewish synagogue that our church met in on Sundays, as my mother played a gigantic German-made pipe organ in this church in Monroe, Louisiana. I'm talking about one of these massive things, you know. And my mother was very young. My mother was probably 18 years old. Finest musician I've ever come across. Taught lessons for 40 years. And did you know I have trouble with chopsticks? It's one of the greatest regrets of my life. She wasn't the type of person that was going to say, you're going to sit down and learn to play this instrument. And I'm glad she didn't. She did, however, encourage me to take voice, which I did. And I enjoyed singing. I enjoyed singing in groups, trios, duets, and every now and then a solo. I just like harmonizing, primarily. Today, we're going to talk about somebody who had aspirations to be a professional singer. And I guess you could say that for a time, they were. But, you know, a lot has happened since that individual decided to become a professional singer. As a matter of fact, something really tragic happened. His wife, Ashley Flynn, was shot to death in her own home. I'm Joseph Scott Morgan, and this is body bags. Dave, there are two shows that I have never sat down and watched a full episode of in my life. The first one is anything with the letter CSI in it. I've never watched a complete episode, and the reason I have not is because I don't want to. I want to keep my mind clear as far as, and I've had friends that have consulted on the show. Mm-hmm. I've always had questions. Now, for having been in academia for over 20 years, I've had students that have asked me, and this is the way each one of the conversations starts. Hey, Professor Morgan, last night on CSI, that's the way each one. And this is, I had a teenage child in my home that never missed an episode. And she would try to drag me in. I wouldn't do it. Now, I would watch Law and Order with her. I think it's because I like that music. I don't know. But I could never watch CSI. And I've got a myriad of reasons why. But the other show I've never watched is American Idol. I have never watched a single episode of it. The mugging puts me off. You know, the thing where they'll turn suddenly into the camera and people will smile real big or make these shocked faces. It seems disingenuous. And I like to listen to people sing, but I'm sorry. I just can't sit there and watch this. So when this case popped up, I was like, I'm intrigued by this. I gotta try to understand the mechanism behind all of this.
Right now, I'm different than that. I have watched a lot. Previously, years ago, I watched American Idol. I was actually doing radio in Birmingham, Alabama, at the time of its height. You know, in the first 5 seasons, the first year of American Idol when Kelly Clarkson won, it was a it was like a summer replacement series. Oh, okay. It was not a full on thing. It was something that was very popular in Great Britain. And when they launched it here, nobody knew Simon Cowell. Paula Abdul people had heard of. And when people talked about Randy Jackson on the judge panel, they thought it was Randy Jackson from the Jackson 5. They didn't realize this was Randy Jackson, the musician producer who actually toured with Journey. Okay. People thought Randy Jackson 5. So my daughter Haley, she was one of these people, and she still is this way today, where she was always ahead of the curve. It was like, if something she was into and caught on, it would be a year or two later, everybody else would catch on, that kind of thing. Yeah. She was watching American Idol, the first season, the first episodes, and just locked into it. And so when the final was on, she's watching it. And remember back then, kids had a television either in their room or in a den, while mom and dad had their TV in a separate area. Yep. This was still during that time. So they're watching it. They being the kids are watching the finale upstairs in Haley's room. And I walked by, I'm like, what are y'all watching? And they were talking about this show that I hadn't seen. And anyway, that was my introduction, was that finale and seeing, and I'll never forget it because Kelly Clarkson won, this karaoke singer, I think from Texas. And the runner up was a guy named Justin. Justin looked so happy that she won. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you're competitive enough to be on a contest, Yep. Why are you more excited for the other person winning? I mean, look, man, be a good sport. Don't be a good loser. But anyway, I digress. That locked us in, though. From there on, the show exploded. Season 2, Ruben stuttered. The big 205 area code. Yeah. So we locked into him, and I had a chance to meet Ruben and spend some time with him and became friendly with him. And anyway, after about 5 or 6 seasons, right, you kind of go, okay, I'm kind of done with this, Yeah. And so whenever I see an article about referencing this person was on American Idol, unless it's the first, 5 or 6 seasons, I could not tell you who it is. Yeah. And so this Caleb Flynn appeared in season 12. In 2013. He was not a finalist. This is a young man who was a youth pastor or a choir director for worship leader at his church, who was married and appears on the show. encouraged to join the show by his audition for the show in Chicago by his wife. He makes it to Hollywood Week. Okay, this is you audition for the show in front of the judges.
Okay,
and then you they give you the golden ticket to Hollywood. Now they give this to any number of people, and they go to Hollywood. They being contestants, and it's like boot camp where they are run through the paces of doing group singing and things like that. And out of the Hollywood Week, people are weeded out to get down to the show finalists, the ones who are actually going to compete in front of an audience. And Caleb Flynn, like hundreds or thousands of others, he didn't make it out of Hollywood Week. So he was probably on 5 episodes, maybe not even that many. I don't know. But it was enough for that to be the headline. Former American Idol star,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Caleb Flynn, he is 39 years old. His wife is 37, and they have 2 daughters. They live in Tipp City. Now, I'm not great on geography. I don't really know where Tipp City is, but I know that it is in Miami County, which always confuses me when we talk about Miami because I always think about Florida. And this is not in Florida. So,
well, hey, look, and you know what I'm about to say here. I go on all these television shows and whatnot, and the producer will say, "Oh, you're in Jacksonville. How's the weather down in Florida?" I'm like, "I'm not in Florida. I'm in Jacksonville, Alabama."
Oh my God!
But Tipp City is it's like just north of Dayton, Ohio, which of course is north of Cincinnati. So it's down in that kind of southern part of Ohio, over near the Indiana border, actually.
Okay, but in Ohio.
In Ohio, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in this home, around 2:30 in the morning, a call comes into 911 from Caleb Flynn. Joe, I really need you to break this call down in a minute. I'm going to give you guys the overall, and then we can come back to it. But
yeah, sure.
Inside this home at 2:30 in the morning on February 16th, the early morning hours of February 16th, Caleb Flynn calls 911, tells them they've had an intruder, a break-in into their home. His wife has been shot. They've got 2 girls who are in their own rooms asleep. And he doesn't know what to do. Send help. So there you have it. When help arrived, Caleb Flynn describes his wife and her injuries to 911. And Joe, we'll go over the whole scene and everything, but when somebody is describing injuries, gunshot wounds in particular, do they normally describe them in very specific ways? Because I can't imagine. I've never actually seen one in person, so I don't know what a fresh gunshot wound would look like. I have seen them after the fact, after they've been cleaned up and things like that. But I've never seen an active gunshot wound. I don't know what it would really look like. So,
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you.
I'm asking.
For me, only a nerd like me would sit there and say, on 911, I've come across somebody and they've sustained, and you can even hear it in my language, they've sustained an apparent gunshot wound. But if it was somebody that I loved, that I cared about, I'm not going to go into granular detail about the nature of the gunshot wound. I'm going to say my loved one has been shot. Get somebody out here immediately.
Right.
Now, they might ask me, and generally 911 operators will say, where are they shot? And you'll hear people frantically. Most of the time, they'll say things like, I don't know. I don't know. All I see is a lot of blood. There's blood everywhere. And you'll hear that repeated over and over and over. As a matter of fact, Dave, did you know that kind of carries over when we interview people at a scene? Because it's so shocking to their conscience, when they they walk into this situation that I think that it's kind of seared or branded into their brain, because that's the first thing that they experience as they're looking at this horrific thing that's unfolding for them. And you'll have these repeated remembrances by these individuals. It's the thing that floats to the top is what it comes down to. When we're thinking about an assessment by a civilian, you don't expect them to go into great detail. Now, if they're prompted by a 9/11 operator I'm talking about a good one, all right? Because there are just like everything in life, there are varying degrees to the type of person you're going to get on the other end of the line. God bless them all, but you know what I'm talking about here. So if they'll say, okay, we need you to tell us where the other gunshot wounds are. Is there only one? Is there two? Are they shot, multiple times? And you're asking them, and they're asking specific questions like, are they breathing? Are they having difficulty breathing? Are they alert? Are they conscious? That's the kind of, and it's like pulling eye teeth. You're having to extract this information from them. But in this case, when this young woman was shot at her home, that's not what we got. We got detail. And I got to tell you, it's the first thing for me that made an alarm go off in my mind.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. Its hyper-local, real-time customizable alerts make sure the weather never takes you by surprise, so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
When people turn to healthcare for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience. And all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research. Ask questions. Then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Kids, pets, life, your sofa sees it all. But with a washable sofa, stains don't stand a chance. All of our sofa collections come with fully machine washable covers and cushions, making cleanup effortless. Liquid and stain-resistant fabrics provide extra protection against everyday messes. Plus, with modular designs, you can rearrange your sofa however you like. Perfect for growing families and changing spaces. Starting at just $699, it's time to upgrade to a stress-free, mess-proof sofa. Visit washablesofas.com today and save. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Look, I'm not trying to be a man of mystery here. Brother Dave, I got to tell you, we referenced the 9/11 call. Let's go ahead and hear it right here.
My wife she's got 2 shots to her head. There's blood everywhere. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Do you still see anybody in the house?
No, the door to the garage was wide open. Please hurry, please. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. My daughters are here. My daughter's in here.
Where's she at?
She's in the bed. I was with the children when it happened.
Okay, but you're not with them now?
No, they're in their room. They're not even awake.
Are you hearing any kind of noise inside the house?
No, her face is, her face is white as a ghost. Please.
Did you notice that? Did you notice what he said, Dave, right there? He didn't merely say she's been shot. He says she's been shot twice, all right? And not just shot twice, she's been shot twice in the head.
She's got 2 shots to her head.
To me, that's a red flag. I don't, it's like it's information that is not necessarily solicited. It's information that is offered.
Right.
And how do you do that assessment? Because I got to tell you, brother, gunshot wounds to the head, when it comes to forensics, are complex, and it's not something that we can fully assess at the scene. It's something we have to assess back at the morgue.
That's shocking. I kind of knew that based on, doing the show with you and covering crime reports for a long time, but it's still very shocking to me that at the scene, what investigators come away with, versus what you find later at the lab, at the morgue. But Joe, in this story from Caleb Flynn, he says that he wasn't there when she was shot. He says he was with his daughters, and that they have 2 daughters, 2 children who are asleep. It is 2:30 in the morning. And he says when he's on the phone that they are still asleep. The children are currently asleep in their bedrooms. And he was in the bedrooms with them, plural. I don't, people make mistakes in how they're talking anyway. But anyhow you look at it, Caleb Flynn was not in the room. According to him, he wasn't in the room when she was shot. So how does he know? Yeah, you could hear 2 gunshots. I got that. You could hear 2 and acknowledge that I heard 2 gunshots. But if you weren't in the room when it took place, and because it's 2:30 in the morning, I am thinking she was shot in the bed. You'll probably need to clear that up for me. But how would he even know? And again, I mentioned before, I have never seen an active gunshot wound. I have seen the aftermath and the blood that is everywhere, and it really is disturbing when you've never seen it before, to actually, especially in a bed. Oh, good grief. You get into an isolated area like that. Oh,
yeah. It is something, most of the time, if you have someone that is shot in the head, it is arguably one of the, let's see, how can I say this? It is arguably one of the areas that is going to generate the most blood. Relative to position, or let me rephrase that, anatomical orientation. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Well, the reason is that the head is the most vascular area of the body. Well, why is that? Well, it's because the brain requires so much blood. Okay. So and it's in a compact area. All right. So you've got the brain that's in this vaulted area. And did you know that at autopsy, one of the things that we'll do is the physician will actually, and here's kind of a cool little aside, the pathologist, all of us, will make reference in an autopsy report, and we'll say, the interior of the cranial vault. Think about that just for a second. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the vault. Like a vault is generally associated with a bank or a funeral. If you're talking about a cemetery, where the body has been vaulted. Right. So you've got this kind of containment area that's located in there. There are all these blood vessels that supply the brain, and also all of the other peripheral areas around the brain. So anytime you have a gunshot wound to the head, it's generally, there's profuse bleeding, and it can even be like a graze wound, which is amazing. I've seen graze wounds on individuals that generated more blood than somebody that's gut shot.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just that it glances along. Well, just think about it right now. Down here in the South, one of the things that parents always say to their child, if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing out in the yard or whatnot, they'll look at the child and they'll say, "Boy, you gonna bust your head wide open." Well, when they say that, generally there's good reason. You're going to fall from a height. You're going to slam your head into something, or But when people recall things like head injuries, the one thing they remember is the volume of blood that's issuing from it. So that you could do an assessment of a body at a scene and arrive at a conclusion about how many GSWs there are there. Because I got to tell you, if I'm looking at a body and I have 2 holes in a head or defects, as a professional, I'm not going to immediately say that they've got 2 gunshot wounds. I'm going to say I've got 2 defects. I even teach my students not to use the words gunshot wounds at all. I tell them to stay as far away from that as they possibly can, because they're painting themselves into a corner investigatively. You say you've got 2 defects. Now, if you want to describe the shape of the defects, you can say one's circular, one's irregular. One's slit-like, the other is elliptical. Mm-hmm. You can use, we learned our shapes when we were little, right? We understand the difference between a circular and, irregular. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying gunshot wound. Well, the reason I don't say gunshot wound at a scene or in my report is the fact that some attorney will try to get me on the stand, and they're saying, "Oh, you call this a gunshot wound at the scene." Now, pay close attention to what I'm going to say here, y'all. You said gunshot wound at the scene, but yet, Dr. Smith, when the body came back to the morgue and they were in perfect conditions, they said this was not a gunshot wound. Okay, well, that's an honest mistake, Dave. All right? That's an honest mistake. And it's not really a mistake. Well, it kind of is, because I don't know, because I'm in poor lighting, haven't shaved the head, and that's something that we do.
Boy, they're going to call you a liar, aren't they?
They are, and they're going to try to make me look like a fool. Remember, the one thing you have to do on the stand, if you're a defense attorney, and all defense attorneys out there, I welcome all comers. I mean, this is just a reality of what they do. They're being a defense attorney. They're going to put you juxtaposition to the people that are going to do the assessment back at the morgue. Okay, so if you say that was a gunshot wound, they're going to say, "Well, which is it?" One of you has got to be lying. It's not that we're lying. It's just that I misspoke. Well, you know how to avoid misspeaking? Don't say anything at all. Don't say anything at all. But when you have a circumstance like you have with Ashley, and she's lying there, and you've got the husband that is standing over her, what do you make of this? Did he actually hear the weapon being fired in the house? We do know that he owns a weapon. We do know that spent casings were found at the scene. And we do, in fact, know that his wife now has, in fact, as a confirmation of what he said, sustained 2 gunshot wounds to the head.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. Its hyper-local, real-time customizable alerts make sure the weather never takes you by surprise, so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
When people turn to telehealth for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience, and all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research, ask questions, then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Sink into affordable luxury. Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa, inside and out. With stain-resistant slip covers and a cloud-like frame duvet, everything goes right in the wash. Plus, the modular design lets you change the look of your space anytime. Visit washablesofas.com to upgrade your home. Shop up to 60% off site-wide, with sofas starting at just $699 and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
You know, Dave, the home that I live in now, I've lived in some rather large homes, and it's not that I could afford them necessarily. It's just that I happen to live in large homes, and most of the homes I have had have either had a detached or an attached garage. And I understand the ability to control a garage door, and you know what goes into it. Matter of fact, I think I have. Let's see, how many garage doors have I cussed out over the course of my adult life? Because something always goes wrong with them. You know, it's just one of those things. But you know, Dave, in the case of Ashley Flynn, what they found at the scene, and according to the husband, who's the reporter, they're saying that the garage door was actually open. You know, going into the house, which is kind of an odd thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've left my garage door open before, but it just seems, out of all the days in Tipp City, Ohio, at approximating 2-something in the morning, you're going to leave your garage door open. And, oh, by the way, there's one person in the entire house that's targeted.
Right. Now, hey, let me ask you something about the garage door. Because when we're talking about a garage, usually there's at least 2 doors. One is the big garage door that lifts up and has a machine that does it oftentimes, and you pull the car in.
Right.
There's a second door that leads from the garage into the house.
Yes.
Oftentimes a laundry area or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
So when we're looking at this, the door that leads from the garage into the interior of the house, is that the door that's open, or is it the main garage door that leads from the street into your...
I don't know. The impression that I'm getting from what they've said, and information is kind of sparse on this case, I got to tell you. They're implying that the main garage door is open. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what it sounds like.
Well, Caleb Flynn indicated the garage door was wide open. So let's go with that. That's what he reported. And 2:30 in the morning, as a man who has had a wife and children in his home.
Yeah.
You check your doors at night.
I'm like a German Shepherd. I walk the perimeter at night. Yeah.
I don't know any man that doesn't. Or I'm going to take that back. I don't know. My wife LaDonna was the one that checked everything. She did. And she heard things, It's like, we got animals, children. Come on, You're hearing noises all the time.
Yeah.
But in this case, in this case, it's 2:30 in the morning. His garage door is wide open. I'm kind of confused as to how he knows that, but he's in the bedroom with the girls while his wife is being targeted in the bedroom at 2:30 in the morning. His story. And by the way, when law enforcement arrives to investigate, well, they get the story from him. Hey, I was in here with the girls. I hear a ruckus going on, 2 gunshots, and boom, my wife's here. I call 911. And Caleb allegedly, supposedly, reportedly, gave investigators a story for them to start chasing rabbits. Yep. They went into the garage. They went into the truck because he told them, I have a 9mm handgun. You mentioned a minute ago, they find shells in the room, correct?
Yes. Yeah. There's shells found at this scene, ejected shells. Yes. Okay. And and to be very specific, it's a 9mm, weapon, which is arguably, I guess, I can say definitively, as far as semi-automatic handguns go, it's the most common caliber now.
If you've got 9mm caliber shells, and the guy says, I got a 9mm, that's not going to immediately go, hey. But it is going to say, well, if it had been 22 shells or something else, that'd be a little different. But 9mm shells, casings in the room. Now, he tells cops he keeps his gun in the truck, in the garage, in the center console, correct?
Yeah, he does. And here's the thing, and I just found this information, by the way. It's what he is alleging, what Caleb Flynn is alleging, is that the side door of the garage is open with a large fridge in front. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because let's go back, because when you're saying the garage door is open, there was one door that we did not mention just a second ago. Some of these garages have side doors. They do, so that you can access just in and out without having to open it. You can kind of walk in front of your vehicle, that sort of thing. It's an interesting, and look, if I was a prowler, I hadn't heard that term in a long time. If I was a prowler, that's kind of a subdued area to go in through. Right. You know what I'm saying? It kind of makes sense, I guess, that you're trying to get access to the house. But here's the thing. It's like you mentioned, Dave, if you get into that big box, and that's what a garage is, if you get in that big box, how are you going to egress from the interior of that environment through the door that leads to the interior of the home? Is it unsecured? I don't know if you've ever had an arrangement like this. I think, I know that I have. Not only is the exterior door going to be locked down, but my interior door is definitely going to be locked, dude. Yeah. So I'm thinking, what's the pattern here? That's being worked out, relative to points of egress, as far as a home invader, a prowler is taking through the house.
Well, let me ask you how the investigation works out, because when officers arrive after the 911 call and they secure the scene, they talk to the caller, Caleb Flynn. His daughters are supposedly still sleeping in their bedrooms. His wife is dead on the bed. Or in the bedroom. I don't know if it specifically says in the bed. I need to go. I don't know that that's been very specific yet.
They have not released that info at this point.
Normally, we would not have 2 gunshot wounds to the head by the caller to 911, but we do have that. Now, Caleb Flynn, to be very clear here, is being accused of murdering his wife. He is accused of setting the scene here, staging it, Joe. Now, if you walk into a scene, and I'm sure you have, when you walk into a scene of a gunshot wound, a person dead from gunshot wound, I'm trying to get into your head for what your expectation is based on what you see. I mean, we all have history we bring to us with everything. When you and I are on with Nancy Grace on a particular story, we already have a history either on the story or at least with Nancy, and we know how it's going to transpire.
Yep.
Same thing is true here. You go to a gunshot, the scene of a crime. First of all, when are you going to be called to the scene as the forensic, guy?
Immediately.
Okay.
We would be called out immediately. The ME, the coroner investigator in Ohio, they have coroners. So, and mighty fine coroners, by the way. I've actually taught them up there years and years ago when we first did the national standards.
Now we know why they are so good.
Yeah. Well, they are good. They're top notch. Their training is thorough.
All right. Once the police determine, and I'm going to assume and that's wrong, who actually will determine on the scene, the first people there, that, okay, we have this individual is no longer living.
Yep.
Do police make that call?
Well, yeah, it would actually be, it's going to be this is how it's going to happen. There will be a supervisor, a uniform supervisor that will show up. We've never talked about this. This is kind of cool perspective. A uniform supervisor will show up. Okay. So he might, uniform supervisor might have 4 squad cars that they are in charge of for that shift, depending upon the size of the city. Tipp City, I don't really know. Supervisor rolls up, and this is kind of how the conversation will go. He'll get on the radio, and he will say, I don't know, we'll just pull a number 301 to headquarters. Yeah. Headquarters, go ahead. Let's go ahead and get CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division, en route, get a crime scene unit en route, and we also need to get the coroner en route as well. That's how it happens. Okay. It's that simple. Okay. Every now and then, they will wait until CID gets out there, which is, when I say CID, Criminal Investigation Division, you hear that term associated with the Army, because that's what they refer to as their forensics people, CID. They're all warrant. Well, they're not all warrant officers. They're enlisted as well. My mistake. Don't hammer on you guys. But CID is something that term is used throughout all investigative agencies in the U.S. And most people that work within that strata, know what that means. So they'll get them en route, and there will always be a detective. You're talking 2:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. When you go to bed that night, if you're not in the office, and many people don't work out of the office at 2:00 in the morning, investigators don't. Right. They have a call sheet. They know who's up next, essentially. Mm-hmm. One of the best ways that I've ever seen this displayed was that old television show called, what was it called? A Homicide: Life on the Streets. And it's based on the Baltimore homicide detectives. Mm-hmm. And they had a board that was displayed prominently in this television show. It's the first time they'd ever done this. And they would show who caught the last cases. And it was one of those things that really popped off the screen when you saw it. You would know who's up next. So you might have a squad of, I don't know, however many detectives that the location requires. This gets into the more detailed stuff. If Tipp City if they're reliant upon their own CID, as opposed to, say, Miami County Sheriff's Office. Mm-hmm. All right. Miami County Sheriff's Office is probably going to be a bit more, have a larger population of investigators. Tipp City might only have a couple. You might have, depending upon the tempo of cases that they have, you might have just a couple of folks in there that are bearing this huge load of active cases they're working on. Whereas you might go to another city that's really slow, and they might catch just a couple of cases a year. So you never know what's going to show up, or what state of mind the investigator is going to be in. So yeah, that's the way it would happen. I really went a long way around the barn describing that, but I hope that it
it's
adds some
important
clarity
because
to it. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if the cops on scene realize we have a deceased individual who has gunshot wounds, that they're going to stop touching the body and all the stuff around. And that's what I was kind of because you're going to have to check for signs of life. And yet a dead body takes on a different pallor, a different look. There is a very big difference between life and death in terms of the body. And I just kind of was wondering, at what point do they say, okay, Dave, you go put your hands in your pockets and stop touching, Yeah.
They will do that. Hopefully there are going to be safeguards, and hopefully, and this has happened too before. I've worked cases in small towns where they have, and this is very sad to say, where you show up at the scene and there'll be just some guy standing there in civilian clothes that's not badged up in any way. And he's inside the tape and he's standing there next to the body. And you're, as an ME investigator, you're not, saying, you're not screaming at the top of your lungs. You're saying, who are you? Mm-hmm. I go to somebody else and I'll say, who's the guy that's standing there, in blue jeans and a Rolling Stones t-shirt, and oh yeah, he's one of ours. He's off duty. And I'm thinking, is this drug related? Is he like a undercover guy? And no, he heard the call come up on the radio, decided to come out. We let him in. And that has happened.
Wow.
On a number of occasions.
Holy moly.
So you have to be very aware of this and cognizant of it.
Right.
So once that scene is secured, hopefully everybody is out by the time the ME rolls up. And here's I say ME, coroner in this case. A little factoid here as well. In most states, if there is a body at the scene, guess who's in charge of the scene? It's the coroner of the ME. It's not the police.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, we don't get into nobody. And I know that there have been fights over the years relative to this sorts of thing, but it's not something that I want to work well with everybody because the goal is just to try to find out the truth. And again, I'm not a justice guy. I'm not there to find justice. That's not not my department. That's down the hall to the right.
Right.
My goal is to discover scientific truth and try to understand it scientifically, but we're all working toward a purpose, which is truth. So, but yeah, that has happened. I hope that it hasn't happened out here. It sounds like they're running a good investigation. However, I will tell you in regards to the individual that has been hooked up on charges,
Caleb Flynn,
he has retained a defense attorney. And this guy is actually saying the defense attorney has, and let me make sure I get this straight because there is a specific quote that I found kind of intriguing. Yeah, this guy's name is L. Patrick Mulligan, and he said, "We are both disappointed," and this is a quote directly from him, "We are both disappointed and concerned about the short timeline and seeming rush to judgment in this case. When the government runs out of leads or can't develop leads and looks at a surviving spouse in cases such as these, the chance of a wrongful conviction increases," end quote. Wow, that's a mouthful, man. And this dude just drops this bomb out there.
We're only a couple of days into the investigation.
Yeah, I know. And listen, okay, yeah, I guess you can say that it was quick, but quick doesn't always imply bad investigation. It implies that you had some pretty big clues out there and things kind of fell into place. I'm happy for the police officers that it kind of worked out for them relative to this. Now, they're saying that they feel as though this individual is responsible, according to them, not me.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, let me run down this quick timeline very quickly.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. February 16th, we have 2:30 in the morning, 911 call. Got a Ashley Flynn, 37, found shot to death inside their home. Caleb Flynn, 39. He's the one that made the call. He says, there's somebody broke into my home. My wife has been shot twice in the head. There's blood everywhere. Police noted that Caleb Flynn was hyperventilating on their arrival. 2 children were present, but unharmed. They were in their own bedrooms. Officers documented the garage side door with a large fridge in front and the center console of a 2024 Ford truck. This is where Caleb Flynn said he stored his 9mm handgun. That console was open, Joe, on that Ford truck. Think about this, in the garage. So you have a 9mm gun, Caleb? Yes, I do. Well, where do you keep it? I keep it usually in my truck in the center console. Okay, great. Thank you, sir. And then when they get there, it's open. The 9mm is gone, So 2 gun shell casings found in the bedroom. Caleb Flynn is accused, allegedly using the 9mm handgun to shoot Ashley Flynn. Now, at this point, you mentioned he has retained an attorney, and you should always have an attorney, but Caleb Flynn has waived his right to a speedy trial, and there is going to be another preliminary hearing. Everything was supposed to take place with this in the days immediately following, but it was a combined decision between the prosecution and the defense. The next hearing is going to take place March 26th. Caleb Flynn is being held on $2 million bond. Just to give you a quick heads up, Ashley Flynn was 37. She was a substitute teacher and a volleyball coach. Much loved. Caleb Flynn, the praise and worship leader at his local community church. And there you have it. Caleb Flynn in jail, in prison, or in jail right now, $2 million bond. And the children are with family members.
Yeah. And I was going to say the most important thing is that Ashley was a mama.
Yeah.
And these 2 babies are now without their mama and their daddy. And I think that's, it's soul crushing. But, I think that, Dave, I got to tell you, the truth, as I'm off to say, is going to rest in the science here, the outcome. I'm going to be fascinated to hear what the forensic pathologist has to say about this case. And it's going to go like this. I want to know about range of fire, and I want to know the anatomical orientation of these gunshot wounds to Ashley's head that, Caleb has already said happened. Right. And so I'll close with this. The head is one of the more fascinating areas of the body when you think about trauma, because there are so many multiple planes where trauma can take place as it applies to specific locations anatomically on our head. Everything ranging from beneath the jaw to the top of the head, to the sides, to the back, the occiput back there to the forehead, the eye, the nose, the ear. I've seen it all. Well, not all, but a lot of it. What's going to be a big reveal in this case is where was she relative to the end of the muzzle of that weapon when somebody put the pressure to that trigger and initiated that firing sequence? Where did that round go? How far away were they when they executed this woman? And I guess as much as I hate the why question, why would anybody walk in to a home where you have a husband, 2 kids, and out of everybody in the house, they select Ashley Flynn to be double tapped in the head? I'm Joseph Scott Morgan, and this is Body Bag.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. It's hyper-local, real-time, customizable alerts. Make sure the weather never takes you by surprise so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
When people turn to telehealth for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience, and all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research, ask questions, then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Time for a sofa upgrade? Introducing Anabay Sofas, where designer style meets budget-friendly prices. Anabay brings you the ultimate in furniture innovation with a modular design that allows you to rearrange your space effortlessly. Perfect for both small and large spaces, Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out. Say goodbye to stains and messes with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics that make cleaning easy. Liquids simply slide right off. Designed for custom comfort, our high-resilience foam lets you choose between a sink-in feel or a supportive memory foam blend. Plus, our pet-friendly, stain-resistant fabrics ensure your sofa stays beautiful for years. Don't compromise quality for price. Visit WashableSofas.com to upgrade your living space today. Sofas start at just $699 with no risk returns and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get up to 60% off, plus free shipping and free returns. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.